It starts with 100% nitro methane. From more than 12 states, they're coming. The Larice Motorsports Insurance CHAOS Cajun Nationals. Friday and Saturday, April 14th and 15th. State Capitol Raceway. Over 2 dozen mind-blowing supercharged funny cars. Flame-scorching jet dragsters. And never before seen, Scott Palmer's Nitro Pro Mod. Kids 12 and under are free, and every ticket is your pit pass. Get advance tickets at funnycarchaos.com. Can you survive the chaos? Find out and be there.
And welcome everyone to CHAOS Live. David, this is already one of my favorite episodes because it's the first CHAOS Live after race day.
I'm telling you what, this is going to be a good one. As we are I'm still kind of buzzing off the weekend that we just came off of. There were so many career best of laps times, side by side, close racing, great number of fans in the stands, thrills and chills, and unfortunately a few spills, but oh my goodness, what a race it was, and the buzz just goes on. Oh, I'm just bouncing off the walls still after all of that time. I recuperated a little time, and I'm back to wired up and fired up, man.
Yes, sir. Cannot wait to already get down there to Cajun land and take in the second annual Funny Car Chaos Cajun Nationals there at State Capitol Raceway. We're going to certainly talk about that a little bit later on. The classic, though, third annual. Man, I feel like personally, I was at the first one. I was at the second one working with Chaos. This one again working with Chaos. And I feel like the third one it got even better than even the first two. I don't know how it did, but I feel like it was. And yes, storylines running everywhere. And what I noticed, though, is these competitors, as this race is growing in notoriety, they are certainly hungry for this win and doing everything it takes to make eliminations and to go rounds.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it, as my friend Lynn Nickerson liked to say. There are so many racers that can't wait to get to this race. And it means a lot to get to this race and take home, not only that unique Chaos trophy, but all the extras that the Texas Motorplex throws in there, like the buckles and all that kind of things. And it goes not only with our funny car classes, but it goes with the fuel altereds, and it goes with the TDRA and the nostalgia modified production and nostalgia super stock, and even our presenting sponsor, SoCal Speed Shop of Waco. I mean, they brought the company car to run in the hot rod bracket class, and we sure hope they made a lot of new friends. And I kind of think that they did, as there was just all kinds of cool activity taking place. But it does mean a lot to be racing on that surface where so many records have been set, at that facility where, as they say, where speed was born. Mm-hmm. And there's certainly been a lot of speed that's been created elsewhere too. But that's kind of a house, definitely one of those houses of speed where, if you can hang your picture on the wall as a winner, as a performer at that track, at the serious events that they run there, you've done something. And so, it draws a little extra bit of excitement, and in some cases, a lot of extra excitement. And we saw plenty of that over the weekend, from testing right until the Jets went down as the last pair of the weekend.
For sure. Well, those that certainly did something in winning are Alex Barker in the D field, Ray Stringer in the C field. The B field winner is Joey Haas and Kevin Kinsley with the A field winning honors. We're going to have them all here on CHAOS Live tonight. But before we do get to them, I know me and David chatted about what are some other stories that are noteworthy, and there are plenty that are noteworthy. And I just want to throw out Jade Cook. She was a D field finalist, lost to Alex Barker in a pedal fest type of race, but they worked their tails off to even make the show. They had a mechanical issue that resulted in them needing to go get brand new, well, not necessarily brand new, but new bolted onto the car heads, which her dad drove all the way back to Oklahoma, picked up heads, came back, started bolting them on that night, degree to cam overnight, and they barely get the thing fired up, and in Q3 they make the show and they go all the way to the final. That is the type of dedication that I am so impressed by in the CHAOS ranks of the CHAOS racers. They truly are racers.
Indeed, and there are more stories than that. As you go through the pits, people experience parts failure. It just goes with it. I'm reminded of Lyle Greenberg. He had one motor in the car and he had one motor in the trailer, and they're warming up the car in the pits before they've ever made a run down the racetrack, and experienced parts failure on their number one bullet. So they immediately had to go to the backup engine. And, I think the comment was made that maybe should have had that one in there in the first place, because it went career best elapsed times like 3 times in a row. And it's just like, but the dedication, to your point, the dedication of all these racers. And we heard multiple stories of people that were like, okay, I don't know if we can make it back to this next one, but we're sure going to be working on it. And the thrash between Friday night and Saturday for that final shot, because, there was all kinds of shuffling that took place in that last go. And, there were racers that hadn't quite gotten down the racetrack the way they wanted to go. But Saturday came and the final qualifier was underway. And I mean to tell you, it was just big run after big run after big run. And it was pretty easy to get excited about all that kind of stuff. And I know the fans were loving it. And of course, we were all cheering them on and excited for every time we had to, every time we would see somebody go from the bottom to the top and that bumping began to take place. It's exciting. It's what it's all about. And to have the rewards of all that work, particularly for some of those teams who put in so much, like Phil and Jade and Chance and that team there. I mean, they worked so hard to make it happen, and they got some great things done.
For sure. I think another group that exemplifies that is Mitch King. Wow, they really went through it to get to the number one spot. Broken rear end, broke the steering. Kevin Kinsley actually had to weld it back on the car for them, and then he has some cone action in one of the qualifiers, and there's body work being done, and then they go out there and go number one. Very impressive, all the hard work that was put in, because I think it's been a long time since Mitch King and number one has been said in the same sentence, but we got to say it this past weekend.
Yeah, that's true. And, they got the win at the Motorplex at our finals last year with the Chevy Nova bodied funny car that they came up with, that version of the Bone Shaker. So we kind of anticipated that they would come in and kind of already be in position to go right down A to B. But if that's what we thought, we had another thing coming. And those first 2 runs were eventful. Way more eventful than they wanted it to be. And that second run, where I'm positioned at the Motorplex is right behind the Christmas tree, way high and way back. But it was interesting watching that car go over to the center stripe and straddle it and kind of take everything out as they went on the way down there. Chris Graves chiming in. Major thank you to Team Motorplex, Eric and DeMarcus and Christy and everybody on their A game. And, you cannot, so many things right up through the end. It was on point. It was right. And of course, we sang a lot of praises for the Texas Motorplex because they earned them all the way through the weekend.
They certainly did. Well, David, you ready to get that first winner on, Alex Barker, the Back In Black man, and chat with him on his classic win?
I think it's a good time to go ahead and do that.
Let's do that.
Taylor Motorsports Products is your first stop for quality safety equipment for your car or your driver. All of our safety equipment products are made in our facility in Albany, Oregon. From custom fit fire suits to racing seat belts, supercharger restraints, engine diapers, transmission blankets, and many other must-have items. Our racing history runs deep. We are racers building the finest safety equipment for racers. And we're a proud supporter of the CHAOS.
Alex Barker, Mr. Can We Always Race at the Texas Motorplex, now live on CHAOS Live. Good to have you, Alex.
Thank you for having me, Lee and David. It's been an honor to come and be on here with CHAOS Live with you.
I tell you what, there's very few that have a 3-0 record in the finals of the funny car eliminator classes and in funny car chaos, but you are one of them. You've found your way to the winner's circle back at San Antonio a couple of years ago, got another final win, and then kicked it off with a bang this year. And so how were you feeling when you did it again? Is it old hat to you now, or is it still a rush?
No, it's still a rush every time. I mean, another thing me and the team was talking about is not only did I go back to back with the 2 Texas races, but I'm currently the only person that holds 2 belt buckles from the Texas Motorplex. So a big shout out to the Texas Motorplex for allowing us all to come out and be at their awesome facility.
Man, those are some very sweet spoils that go to the winners, and I love the way the Motorplex stands out with the additional prizes. So you come to the race this time, and how long had it been? Had y'all done any testing before you got to the Motorplex?
No prior testing. The plan was I got off work Thursday morning, and the plan was to test both my car and Dad's car at the Motorplex, but we ended up having some issues with Dad's car. It ended up spitting an exhaust valve out in the burnout, and so we worked up all night trying to get Dad's car turned around, and basically put mine on back burner for pretty much the race, because it was what we wanted to do was get Dad's car running. And I had some issues with mine, just some mechanical issues, had a couple wiring issues, and just both cars were fighting us all weekend. And then ended up being able to qualify in the final sheet. I was number 32 finally with my 437 or something, and I still had to pedal it off the line. And that was just to make it go, trying to make it go A to B, and was lucky enough to do that. And then I got bumped up with some of the cars falling out, braking and stuff like that. So,
are you at work?
Yeah, I am. Actually, that's the truck that I ride on today. So if the bells pop off, then I got to run. So.
Well, if you have to go, all of a sudden we'll understand. But I'm thinking maybe you and Chris King will have some things to talk about next time we see him come around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well. So in your class, there were 4 cars from Oklahoma, 1 from Colorado, 1 from Mississippi, 1 from Nebraska, and I think I must have missed one. But anyway, you go into the first round against fellow Oklahoman Jordan Ballou, and I was noticing you came into this ready because your reaction times, you got the except for the semifinals, you got to have the best reaction time of the pair. Every time you went down the racetrack, so you were certainly wired into the tree. Does that come with practice, or were you just jazzed about being there again?
Well, I was mostly jazzed about being there and was able to move up in the qualifying spots. But I actually went and talked to Jordan before it, because we had the call out the night before, and he got me on the call out. And I said, hey, give me a couple Mississippis on the tree, because I may be a little slow. He's like, yeah, I'll give you a Mississippi. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And it just ended up working out. So I talked to him after the run. And I was like, hey, thanks for giving me that Mississippi. So,
yeah, well, you got the 433 and go to the semifinals. Now the semifinal, that one was a tough match right there. As Tony Arcuri out of Colorado with his little Thunderbird, you guys both went 005 on the tree. So no advantage there, but extremely good reaction times. It looked like you were both trying to go red and missed. And but he put a good run up at 420, but you ran your best run of the event. Now, is that how quickly has your Back in Black GTO gone before?
So talking. It's not us, so we're good. So what actually happened, if we backtrack a little bit on that, is whenever I was running Jordan Blue, I actually popped the blower on in the top end. So we were scrounging around trying to get the cars together. We had several teams come over with some extra parts and things like that. And a big shout out to Brian Brown and Jonathan Thompson and Clay Copeland and all them for jumping in with us as we were pulling the blower off of the car, and just got lucky with turning it around. Before that, my fastest pass in the car was a 419 in San Antonio against Daniel Gutierrez in 21. And so whenever it popped off that 12, we were all, one, excited, but very surprised, as we didn't think the car was going to run that. I was hoping for, one, to get a tree advantage, because I was trying to chop the tree off as fast as I could, and just trying to get him the whole shot. He had me beat with the whole weekend, but the car ended up sticking and kept rolling right along.
So the blower on the car in the semifinal was one that you borrowed from someone else?
Well, I actually borrowed a bunch of other parts. The blower was actually okay, but it was just right through the top end. It kicked the panels out, and apparently the panels just didn't have enough blowing out, so it lifted the blower, and luckily no oil or nothing else that was hurt with the motor, so we were able to turn around pretty quick.
Well, that's good. And in the final round, you got the win in the pedal fest after the big cleanup. And so what are you thinking while that's going on? Because that's not your typical race.
No, I knew I had a tough competitor. Jaden and Phil are always tough competitors down in the C field and the D field and stuff like that. And so I had to get a light on her. I've been running good on the lights, but I knew I couldn't cut anything super close like I did in round 2 because I didn't want to go red. So I just had to hope for a good light and hope for the better car. And luckily enough, with the couple pedals that I did and her couple pedals, and we were able to go back and forth, and finally one of us got it stuck and kept it going.
Yeah. Now your family's been racing for a long, long time, and I remember seeing the Little Bit and all those incredible burnouts that your dad used to do with Little Bit. Mm-hmm. And you drove the Little Bit for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I done a little bit whenever I was 16 or so. NHRA just come out with the junior driver or something like that. You could take a street vehicle and race it down the track if you had a parent or guardian with you. And so I'd done that a little bit with a 1970 Nova that me and my dad put together. And it was just an old Nova that had a cage in it. And we put a wore out big block Chevrolet in it with a turbo 400. And I was able to make some runs in it. And then I had a good friend that had an F10, and then he had Monza, and he just didn't want to do anything with them. So we ended up borrowing the Monza, and I raced it for a little bit in some index racing. And then after that, we got the funny car and started running it. So we kind of busy tied up with that. After that, I pretty much just hopped straight in a funny car and started getting my license and some runs under my belt.
And it didn't take really long for you to go from licensed to actually getting your first win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it ended up working out. Lynn Logue is a good friend, family friend, and he just wanted to step out of the car for a little while, and he offered it up to me and said, hey, if you want to drive and do that deal, get after it. And luckily, me and the car just stuck together, and we've been nice to each other so far. So she's doing me good, and I'm trying to be nice to her.
Well, yeah, that certainly seems to be a match between you and that car. I was mentioning that you don't see a lot of G bodies that aren't Monte Carlos in funny car, but that body style, the GTO, every time I see it, and Lee put that picture of it up there just a minute ago, but man, that's a great looking car. And so you guys are you continuing to chase the series this year? I see you planning on being at State Capitol. You guys going for the points?
So we're going to try to go for some points. I know we're going to make all the Nitro Chaoses as good as we can with Dad's car. I'm going to make as many funny car chaos races as I can. State Capital, I unfortunately won't be at, as I won't be able to get the time off from work. But anything else after that, I'll pretty much be able to make and hopefully just be able to do good at them.
Okay, good. And of course, you guys have been running Maxima Racing Oils even before it was the official racing oil of the Funny Car Chaos Championship Tour. And I see you're repping for them there with the, with the cap. So for those that are coming to, and we had quite a few teams make their first appearance in Funny Car Chaos at the Motorplex. It's kind of exciting to see the number of new teams that are either switching from one category or stepping up into funny cars and joining in the fray. And so how does that make you feel as one of the younger drivers as the influence of Funny Car Chaos is reaching further by the year?
I think it's great. I mean, the more teams, the more the merrier. I mean, everyone is already tough as it is and competition-wise, and it just makes you earn your win for sure. So I like this series, and I want to continue growing. And the only way we can do that is if our cars show up. So I love it.
Now, was this something you come from a racing family, but just because you come from a racing family doesn't necessarily mean that racing is what you're all about. But is this something that you saw yourself doing years ago?
No, not at all. I figured, I was gonna do some other different kind of racing or something like that. But I've always grown up around cars all my life, so it kind of makes sense for me to be into the racing world and into the racing scene. And once I got into it, everyone's so open arms, and I mean, we're a big family, and that's what I really love about the sport more than anything is that just like whenever I popped the blower in round one, I had several teams just come over and throw me parts, like Gary Roshkob, Mike Buchanan's crew chief, and they were coming and bringing me parts. And, I mean, it's great how we can all mesh together and tie together whenever someone's in need.
Yeah, and now your hometown has spawned quite a lot of racers. Marlow, Oklahoma, being a place. You mentioned Lynn Logue, and I believe is there a Lynn Junior and a Lynn Senior, and Lynn Senior kind of got you guys all going into the racing direction.
Lynn's dad, Jim Logue, he was a funny car driver back in the day, and Lynn's was a funny car driver back in the day, back in the early 70s, 80s, things like that. And obviously, everyone knows about Scott Palmer. He's from Marlow originally, and pretty much all those guys, including my dad, all ran around together, tearing up the town. And Jim was a big deal in that and making everyone into the racing scene.
Well, that is so cool to see you, man. Congratulations on yet another big win and the second buckle. And we look forward. Well, you guys, I guess the next Funny Car Chaos event is going to be Odessa. And, if you're available to be out there, I guess you're planning on going out to the Petroplex.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Awesome. Well, listen, we very much appreciate you plugging in with us tonight on Chaos Live. Congratulations on all the things that you're accomplishing, and keep making those fans, keep making those good runs, and keep protecting the people in your community.
Hey, thank you, David. Big shout out to my mom and dad and all my crew here at the Back In Black headquarters. So thank y'all.
Outstanding. Yeah, mom and dad make a huge contribution to your success in the world of funny car racing and to your success in general. Man, it's great to have you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Lee.
Take care, Alex.
Thank you.
Well, David, a point that was brought up that is so good to see with Alex and the many likes of others is that, sometimes there's this confusion that in the chaos world, it is nostalgia, funny car drag racing. And, well, no, it's not. It can be because it's run what you brung. And then you go a little bit beyond that, and who typically drives nostalgia funny cars? A bunch of geezers, no offense. And then you have a situation where no, it's not that. Like you've got Alex, he's 21, Jade Cook, 24. We had Julie Natus there, she's 26. You got Jordan Ballou, who is mid 30s, if I remember correctly. There is a younger crowd within the whole crowd that is chaos. It's not a bunch of old fogies.
Yeah, that's true, and we have some of the senior set that runs with us too, and we're really glad. But the younger and the older come together and run this together, and that knowledge that is being passed on from the senior set to those who have figured out that what the guys and gals that have been doing this for a long time have accomplished is really something else, and it's really way beyond cool. So they are picking up where those guys are still running, and with the opportunity to carry on and become the stars of tomorrow. But I love the blend of people that have been doing this for a long time, and that people that come along and go, man, this is so cool. I didn't know that Alex was, that this wasn't especially his thing, but boy, have they come into their own as a team. That Back in Black Barker family, that's they are doing a good job of showing the way with with the pair of cars and going with the different combination with the injected nitro machine, and boy, it's cool.
It certainly is. Well, individual that had, I really think, one of the coolest matchups in the final round is Ray Stringer facing Anthony Whitfield, small block versus big block, all on nitro. What a fascinating combination in the final. Both Chevys. We've got him queued up. He's ready to go in the green room. Kevin Kinsley, you can hear me. Hang loose, man. You're last, even though you were like first. I mean, it's just the nature of being in the A field. So just hang on. We're going to get to you before long. We're going to take a break. Right after the break, Mr. Stringer live on CHAOS Live. Ray Stringer, welcome to CHAOS Live. With the name of your car, Blown Scentless, I've got to wonder, going all the way to the final and winning, how much of a dent did that put in the pocketbook?
Well, it definitely helped. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's good to have you on, Ray Stringer. I tell you, you are one of the guys. I mean, I met you at the very first Funny Car Chaos there at North Star, and you guys continue to be one of the most exciting and one of the most excited teams in the world of chaos, man. So how does it feel to finally get in there? And you've been in the final before, you've been a runner-up, but man, getting that trophy, tell us about it.
Oh, it felt good, especially at Texas Motorplex, right? Like, to me, the biggest event there is in Funny Car Chaos. The team worked so hard. We had to put a piston in it before the final, and there was a pretty big thrash in the pits, and just made it even more special. And most of these guys on this team have been with me from day one, and to finally get a big win for us felt really good. It was awesome. Yeah.
Well, you a lot of times carry that bow tie flag by yourself, but not in this particular event. And when I began to see how it was shaking out with you and Anthony being on opposite sides of the ladder, I just kind of thought, wouldn't it be interesting if there were two Nitro Chevys in the final, one big block, one small block, and lo and behold, there you guys were.
Yeah, and I've followed Anthony for a long time. I really like that car, and he's done very well with it. We had such a busy Saturday. I was just too wrapped up in ours to understand and see how the ladder was coming together. But when I saw we were running him in the final, I knew we had a battle on our hands for the final round. Very much stepped up for it. We knew we had to be on the game, be on the tree, and be ready for him.
So you get to choose your own power plant, and you were running a funny car. I'm not sure how long before 2017, but I'd actually seen you featured in a magazine before. But so tell us about your affinity for Chevrolet power on Nitro. How did you become a guy that was just going to be sticking with it with the bow tie in Nitro funny car racing?
I ran a blown small block dragster in Southwest Superchargers for over 20 years and just comfortable with Chevrolets. And after watching a lot of the nostalgia scene happening with the Bakersfield and funny car coming around and saw Stephen McLean with his nostalgia top fuel car doing it with a Chevy, and a couple of others, I've really thought that might be something I could do. First, I just wanted to try the funny car thing. And so we bought a funny car. Dad had a motor that we put in it to get started, and just on alcohol, ran Southwest Superchargers for a couple of years with that. And I kept watching those nostalgia guys and nostalgia fuelers and what they were doing in California at the March meet and looking at the rules, and just I enjoyed the challenge. I thought I'd like to try that just to see if I could do it, and started calling people, especially Stephen McLean and Jerry Newman. And just one thing led to another. I went to Denver one time to see a match race, and Anthony Whitfield was there. And that's how I met him, and went and hung out with him for just a little bit and kind of looked over what he was doing, and just decided to go all in and checked with my family, of course, and make sure they were ready to do this. And my parents, my wife, or my brother-in-law, he's been in since day one on the clutch and helping me out with everything. Scott, we just did it, just went for it, and it's been awesome ever since. We've really enjoyed it. Never looked back.
When I think of you being from the land of enchantment and running a Nitro Chevy, it puts you kind of in a category with one of the biggest names ever, Dick Harrell.
Yeah.
And
right here down in the southern end of the state.
Yep, that's right. And of course, at that first race, Grady Bryant was who's also from New Mexico, and ran funny cars for years and years and years, and so that was, when I think of you guys teams that you guys are, especially now that you've crossed the finish line first in a final round, that's got to be a memory that you're going to treasure for a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got to do a car show with the Dickie Harrell tribute car in Carlsbad when they inducted him into the Carlsbad Hall of Fame, and Dale Poldy was there, and the whole family, and they brought that car in, and we got to do a fire up and sit with them and visit and get to learn some of the history, because I did not know a lot of that history. I knew who Dickie Harrell was, of course, but yeah, it's awesome. And then to me, it's kind of a niche group, right? Running the Chevrolets. We've tried hard. We tried to run it in our wheelhouse, stay in our budget, but it's a lot of fun, and yeah, we haven't looked back. We'll keep after it.
Yeah. Now, if I understand correctly, you're a military man. Is that right?
Sure. Desert Storm, but did not deploy, but I was into Desert Storm. Yep.
Okay. All right. And boy, you talked about your crews and all these guys that have been with you for so long. And not only did you guys run in Southwest Superchargers, but are y'all kind of have you had a role in keeping that organization going on through the years?
When it was going pretty hot and heavy, I was very active in the group. Yeah. tried to help. I kind of ran the point system and tried to help with the website and managed it. But once I started the Nitro deal, I kind of moved away from it. Don David and my mom and dad, Floyd and Sue, they're the ones that run Southwest Superchargers and make that happen. And they got a 4-race schedule for this year, so it's still alive. They're still doing it. I plan to attend at least one. I got to drive Steve Mivas's car a couple of years ago, just a 1-race deal, and I went to the final. We had so much fun. Got to see everybody again. I definitely grew up doing that and learned a lot doing that. We raced, like I said, about 20 years plus with a blown small block. Touring the whole thing, chasing the points on the whole series. That's a lot of seat time. You learn a lot over that time.
I'm sure you do, and that's the excitement of winning is a big time for you are. You've certainly put the big time. Now, career best, are you one that had a career lapse time at the last weekend?
Yeah, in the semifinal, that was career best numbers 406, 183 for the 8th mile. Yep, it was a great ride.
And oh man, that was something else. And I was thinking, I mean, because I've seen you go close, and you guys were pretty jazzed about the 415, but the 406. Was there something you had done to tweak it to bring out a little bit more, or did it just happen to hit just right?
I mean, we obviously Friday we weren't doing so hot. We new set of heads, and the way post-COVID things have been, we couldn't replace the heads with what we had before, so that the new head kind of threw me a curve on Friday. And then Friday night, Saturday morning, Jerry Newman. We always have our Saturday morning consultation about what's going on and come up with a game plan, because I didn't feel like we were in the show with the 440, of course. And the 415 was just, working on the combination and got us in the show, and then just keep tweaking at it, keep working at it. And then, yeah, the air definitely came to us in the semifinal for sure and helped. So a combination of both. Yeah.
Yeah. For the people that are watching here on CHAOS Live, I mentioned that Ray has been with us since day one. What some don't know, and some folks that have continued to come in, is Ray has had his car driven by Lyle Greenberg one year, and they got a win at the exhibition event down in Odessa. And but Ray has driven at least 3 cars. You've driven the Prairie Fire. You've driven the Nitro Pony. I don't know. I think that's all. But this man and this team, talking about you, Ray. You guys are always there, and whatever it takes to get the car down the racetrack, whether it's yours or whether it's someone else's, it's hats off to you guys for the dedication and the selfless way that you guys give to everybody else out there in the community.
Oh, thank you. The opportunity to drive for Wayne Reinhardt and Prairie Fire, and of course Ricky Weeks' Pony Express. What an awesome opportunity, right? And the one weekend I got to drive 2 cars, and I think I actually went further with Wayne's car, if I remember correctly. Just an awesome opportunity to drive other people's equipment. I mean, them to trust me in it. And I've really enjoyed it. This last year, I think there was actually some discussion of trying to do something like that again. I needed to focus on my car, especially after the problems we had in Dallas last year. So, but yeah, thank you. And the crew, they just love going to the races and racing and burning some fuel and seeing everybody. We tried very hard to get there for Thursday night gathering for the party, the pre-race party in the pit. And that's a big part of the weekend to us, and we want to be there for that. So, but thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, David says the 415 got y'all in the field, and we were pumped. You guys seem to stay pretty pumped. How did you like the crowd there at the Motorplex? I mean, they were going crazy for you guys.
Yeah, coming back up from the win, there was a lot happening, and I really appreciate everybody and all the people that have messaged me and sent me stuff through social media and text. It's been awesome. I'm shocked at the response from our win. it's great for us, but the feedback from people has been just amazing, and we have fans that just it's been incredible. And then in the stands they were loud. it was awesome. They appreciate it. So
and I know your crew knows a lot about what I was talking about, because when they go, you're down in the shutdown area and you've got quite a bit of noise in your seat, but when your crew went down there to pick you up, I mean, the stands erupted. They were so excited. And hey, Gary Wheeler Jr. says the big block Chevy on nitro keeps it interesting and it different. So you're getting actually, you've got fans that you probably don't even know, Ray.
Yeah, I'm sure. Although watching our Facebook explode over the last 72 hours or more has shown, and I hope those that didn't make Dallas can make Odessa. We'll be there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, looking at that beautiful Tony Lewis collision and paint job on that car, getting a best appearing award at one of the events. It continues to be a strong looker. Now, when you got the time slip, or maybe Lee told you, but in the final round, was it just poetic justice or what that you ran a 427?
Yeah, right. I didn't know actually till we got back up and were sitting on the return road waiting to do the winner circle picture. And I think Michelle told me. I'm not sure, but yeah, how perfect, right? Yeah.
I mean, you can't draw it up any better than that.
Right. And then that picture from Dallas Wilson, that's just beautiful. Yeah. I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. That's going to go far.
Yeah, with the fireworks.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is an awesome picture. So your next trip with CHAOS is going to be Penwell. Okay. All right. So I know that all your fans are anticipating a great race for you guys out there on Cinco de Mayo. Should be a good weekend.
We like racing there. That's one of my favorite tracks out this way. I try not to miss that one. I didn't get to go last year, but I told everybody mid-season last year there was no way we were missing it. So, yeah.
No way you're gonna miss that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any shout outs that you want to make? Any words for the fans and the sponsors?
Oh, just everybody that helps us, man. Shout out to everybody and anybody that couldn't make Dallas, man. If they can make Odessa, come on. All the team knows that they're welcome, and everybody that's helped us, especially the people behind the scenes here in Alamogordo that don't get to go to the races and don't always get mentioned. Thank you to everybody. I've been messaging people and talking to people on the phone, just letting everybody know how well things went and that they're as much a part of this as we are, as the car, as the team, and me. It takes a lot of people to make this happen. So, yeah, thank you.
Well, I know you've got a lot of people that provide moral support and financial support as well, and it takes all of them. It takes all of them to keep one of them going, because it seems like just about every time down the racetrack, something is going to need some attention.
And to go on with what Alex said earlier, that there's the help in the pits is amazing. Everybody comes together. If you need something, all you got to do is go ask somebody. I've never heard anybody say no.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you what a thrill to have you on and to be able to congratulate you and celebrate you a good bit after that big win. Is that the biggest win of your career?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And I want to keep it going, Odessa. Let's go. I want to be there.
Man, I know there's a ton of people pulling for you, and they will be cheering you on as soon as they show up and you show up at Penwell Nights Raceway. That's going to be a blast. Ray, thank you for taking the time to get on and let us love on you a little bit and share the excitement of that big win. Man, it has been great.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, take care, Ray.
All right, good night.
I cannot wait for folks to see the top end with him. He was one of the most excited like literally great, like, you know, Jack in the Box coming out of the hatch, you know. Yes, it was great to see. It was great to see. So I can't wait for folks to see that. Working on that currently right now. Hopefully very, very soon. Recap from the Classic will be out on the Funny Car Chaos YouTube. Hey, Chris contacted me, Mr. Rattan, and wanted me to make mention that Jet Car Andy Mears did make his Chaos return, that it was very cool to see him at the Chaos. Mr. Mears, well, what can you say on him, David?
I tell you, I got a chance to spend some time with Andy, and you know he went through a very rough bout a few weeks before the Chaos, and a lot of us didn't know what was going on, but there was a post out about him, you know, needing some prayers and that he was experiencing some challenges. So he encountered a serious. He went through a very serious medical issue, and you know we're very, very blessed that Andy's still with us. And, but as you could tell, he made it. And, you know, he's got a couple dozen, maybe a little bit more now, runs under his belt in the Jet Dragster. And, you know, he's been over 200 miles an hour a couple of times at the Motorplex, and flirting with 200 miles an hour a bunch of times more. And I'm telling you what, it is so exciting to have Andy back. And of course, you know, I mean, we think of him as the funny car guy with Dragon Slayer, and actually the very first winner in Funny Car Chaos competition since the B field ran before the A field. He's the first guy to ever get one of those trophies. And so he's been a part of it since day one, and actually even before day one with, you know, with SHRA. But, you know, to get a chance to see him and to visit with him and find out about what all's going on in his life, and just to experience how much fun he is having interacting with the fans. Because, you know, with the Jets, you only run a couple of times a day. And so there's not a lot of thrashing that goes on those Jet cars. And not that there's not any, because there is some, but, you know, it's more about showing up a couple of times and putting on that phenomenal show that he and Ray do. But having a chance to get Andy Mears back in action at the Chaos, you know, in the Jet Dragster, and having him going over 200 miles an hour, he's having a good time, and we're really glad.
That is good to hear. Yes, I'm sure. Whizzing down the drag strip in a Jet Dragster is a whole lot of fun. Well, David, look, we have got Joey Haas in the green room. We also have Kevin Kinsley in the green room. So how about we keep moving forward on our guest, because Kevin, he's going to like kill his phone if he keeps fidgeting with it over there, and if we don't get him on soon. So how about we take a break and we get the B field winner, the driver of Nimrod, Joey Haas, on.
Let's do it.
All right, folks, right after this break, Joey Haas.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.
There he is. Hey, Joey Haas, welcome.
All right. A little technical.
You got me now.
Yep, there we go. A little technical snafu there. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened on StreamYard side or my side, but Joey, man, good to have you on. Congratulations on the win. Already back cutting grass, though, I see in Tennessee.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. Just a lot to maintain here at our place in Tennessee. We've got this wedding venue, so you just got to keep it top notch.
Wedding venue. That was like my next question is, after all those years in Illinois, I began to look and see Tennessee. So you've moved down there. You've got a venue for weddings. Tell us about your life in Tennessee.
Well, this is where my wife was born and raised, in Tennessee, but we live on a family farm that was her grandparents. She's the 5th generation here. When they passed away, the farm was available, so we was able to move into it, but we had to build the wedding venue to purchase the farm and just to pay for it. So that's what we done. She deals with mainly all the people, and I try to stay outside, but it can be hectic at times, but it allows us to be flexible and be able to keep the family farm and to be able to stay here. We've got about 50 acres that we do maintain. So we do about 30 weddings a year. It could be anywhere from weddings to baby showers, bridal parties, corporate events, anything like that. We've got a 7,000 square foot barn that's air conditioned with bride rooms and groom's room and a little kitchen and stuff. So we make the best of it, and we do quite a bit of business.
Outstanding. What is the name of your company?
It's the Barn at Murphy Farm. My wife's grandparents, their last name was Murphy. So we kept the last name as Murphy, and the Barn at Murphy Farm. But we've got a Facebook page and everything. So a lot of people get married, destination weddings. They come to Nashville and want to do, a night on the town and then be able to have somewhere for a family to stay or make a weekend out of it. So we're about 40 minutes northwest of Nashville, just off the interstate. So it's a very good area. It's beautiful through here.
Well, excellent. I'm glad to know that. And now let's talk about racing and that Nimrod funny car. You guys came out and fired a shot that let everybody on the property know that it was going to be tough to get around Mr. Joey Haas and his family.
Yeah, it's I mean, everybody knows, when they look at the car, it's got a dual mag, it's got a dual pump. We don't run it to the mentality of a big show car. Maybe someday we would like to slowly step up to that. But when we first put the car together, looking back at it, we wanted to just take the best that we could take with parts that were readily available. And the big show stuff is more readily available. If you need rods and pistons and superchargers and blocks and stuff, it's not a one-off. So we put that combination together. The clutch cannon and everything stayed on the car. We upgraded to the all valve for the fuel system. So we started off that way. We knew we could start off with something that we know with John Lawson or a Tom Moultrie tune-up, but we knew if we ever wanted to step up, we would have to learn the cannon anyway. So when you look at the car, I mean, you can tell it's a serious monster. We just needed some time to figure it out. Our crew chief, Mike Kern, he works with Zizzo. So the's no stranger to the game. He knows all the electronics and stuff, and we just needed good runs, and we needed a car that was prepared for him to be able to make the changes to. And through the winter, everybody at the shop was phenomenal. We got everything together early enough to make the trip to Texas. So we knew we wanted to test going into it on Thursday, and Mike and my dad told me, take it as far as it feels. If you feel like going to the 8th mile, you can. So I took off, and it got down there about 400 or 500 feet, and I knew it was on a good run. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't squeeze it the very first day on the first pass. So I got out of it just a little early just to make sure we had enough fuel going to the engine, and it looked great. We could have just turned it right back around and went back up there. But it was a good run. It was our fastest run at that point, quickest, I should say, with the 49, and we know it had that potential. So we would be able to step up at any point. We just had to execute. You hear me talk about execute all the time. So we knew going into the weekend we had to execute. So when we rolled into qualifying, we had the parachute fall out on the first one. That was not executing. And then the second one against the War Wagon, you see all that go back on Facebook. I just wanted to go out there and win. So luckily I got back into it after it shook the tires about 300 feet, and then it went a 368, and that's what qualified us.
Yeah, there's anytime there's a race involving your family and the Ferris family, there's a whole lot of conversation goes back and forth between y'all, and you guys are always having fun with each other. But it's some pretty serious racing that takes place with some serious race cars.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I just wanted to say, and again, there's, we have new people tuning into Chaos Live and showing up at Funny Car Chaos all the time. And thank you for all that you did early on, because in 2018 and 2019, we had races at Central Illinois Dragway at Havana. And, Chris was doing an awful lot of promoting. However, there was a guy named Joey Haas that was doing a lot of promoting too, and ran there and got a couple of runner-up finishes there too. So for all that you've meant to Funny Car Chaos, helping us to get to where we are, I want to say thank you. And I know Chaos Nation wants to say thank you. It was a little bit different back then. Take us back to those days and where you were in 18 and 19 on your career, which has advanced a lot since then.
Well, I mean, me and Chris had became friends when my dad drove for Tom Moultrie in the Drastic Plastic. And I remember looking back at it, me and Chris talk about it, but we wanted to match race the War Wagon. And that was back when match races, they've always been a thing, but Chris had mentioned, what the dollar factor would be to get us to Texas to run the War Wagon. And, we mentioned what it would take for us to get down there. And that number was just, exponential sky high. And then 6 months later, Chris says, get down here. So we made it happen. Chris made it happen, I should say, and took that chance, that shot in the dark, before he really hung his neck out there and promoted, and it stuck. And I feel like that from then on, it's been Chris's doing. So whenever he mentioned coming to Illinois, I gave him a list of tracks that I thought was decent. Havana he picked, and that wasn't very far from the house. So I just do what I can for the sport. I feel like me and Chris will always have a future together in the world of drag racing. We're young enough that I don't feel like it's going to quit anytime soon. But I had that Nimrod car, the alcohol Chevy. We runnered up twice and just could never get the win, but was real close. But that car just taught me, how to drive, what to do, what not to do, and if we had what it took to maintain one of these on our own. Now, we did not run it as hard as what we have now. It was just a Chevy on alcohol with an 871 with a power glide, so we didn't have to work on it as much. But in the meantime, my dad was driving for Tom Moultrie, and I was able to get my Nostalgia Funny Car license in his altered, and that's really what kickstarted my career as far as driving. And from there, I drove Steve McLean's front engine top fuel car, which I'll be running at Edgewater. That's now owned by John Mills. It's a heritage legal car that we run in the extreme top fuel circuit around the Midwest. It runs the smaller pump, smaller blower in the nostalgia class. So we'll be running it. That really helped me also, and then was able to move up to my top fuel license on the Camping World Series with Terry Totten and run a few times. So here lately, that's kind of what I've been doing. And last year we ran the American Way car. It's the same car with the 57 Chevy body on it that my dad drives. So there's a few years of downtime where I have not got in a funny car. It's several years. Last year I made one test hit in our car in Martin, Michigan, and I made it about 400 feet and the wheels front end come up. So I got out of it and we went on to race the match race that night and weekend with my dad driving. So that one run was the only run that I had in our car since we've owned it. So when we went to Texas, I was a little nervous going down there because, you start doubting yourselves and what you can and can't do. And I knew that it had been a few years since I've been in one of these cars, and they're a lot different to drive. The speed aspect may be the same as a top fuel car, but just the handling, this thing's several feet shorter than a big show car, and the front end is substantially heavier than a top fuel dragster. The tires are way wider. They're heavy on the front end. So I knew in my mind I had to get rid of kind of everything I knew from the driving aspect and go back to what I knew in Moultrie's car when I got licensed in. So it was a little different. I felt real comfortable in the car, but as testing went on and qualifying went on, everything really started to get better as far as comfort. I had been in and out of the car a few times at the shop, just trying to get real comfortable because I knew I needed everything to line up and matter, because it had been several years since I had been in a funny car. And in this one, I knew I'd have my hands full just trying to line the car out, and with the clutch cannon and stuff, it would be a little different than what I was used to.
Well, it certainly seems like it came back to you like riding a bicycle or something, because, at a Funny Car Chaos race, the most points you can get is qualify number one and win the race, 63 points. And that's exactly what you did. It came in the B field, but there's no difference. Whether it's B field, A field, C field, D field, qualify number one, win the race, 63 points. And I mean, you guys made a statement. There were 3 Texans in the B field, and you took out 2 of them. You took out Nick Polson in the first round and Chuck Lofton in the second round. That final round where you came up against Shane Lawson, and there was some question about the left lane, whether it was going to hold it. Well, it seemed to be, if it was going to have enough traction to get down the racetrack. You guys kind of obliterated any argument that lane was not okay. So what were y'all thinking going into that final round?
Well, I mean, it's the Motorplex and the Funny Car Chaos guys. I mean, they keep a good eye on the track anyway. I didn't in myself have any doubts. I know there was a substantial hold down there, before the semifinal round, and we did make a lane swap that happened right in front of us. And I hated to put Chuck over there, and I told him, I said, if you're not comfortable with this situation, I'll sit here and wait as long as we have to until you're good with the track conditions, because it was a lengthy one. But the personnel cleaned it up great. I mean, there was no issues. We ran that next round. I ended up smoking the tires on that run anyway and lost lane choice. But whenever we pulled up there beside Shane, we knew we was going to have to run good, because I don't know Shane that well, but I know looking at his operation, it's top notch, and you can tell. And the car's been running good for him. And when you got to go against a 370 alcohol car, and while you qualified in the B, and we wanted to be in the A, don't get me wrong, by no means, but there were 2 368s in the B field, and these guys were running 70s alcohol car. There was no bully around in the B field, because that's a pretty serious class to run against. But when we got up there, Mike Kern, our crew chief, he had told me back at the trailer, and he even said it on a Facebook Live. He said, this thing should go with 345. He said, that's my target number. He said, that's what I got in the tune-up. He told me back at the trailer, he said, this thing should be anywhere from 245 to 250. He said, it should fall somewhere in there if you can get it to the finish line.
Well, he called his shot, and you delivered.
Yeah, he sure did.
That was outstanding, and of course set the stage for one more round down the racetrack. I don't know if you know this or not, but one of the stories that there were a lot of stories that came together that night at the Motorplex. But the guy in the other lane, Shane Lawson, his technical crew chief and technical consultant, Ken Singleton, they had struggled, because that night was exactly one night since the fire. And if they had been able to put it in the winner's circle, you talk about a story coming full circle. And so, they were keyed up, and they did what they do. They ran just like you expected them to, a strong, straight, pure pass. And if there was, any slip up made on the other lane, they were gonna celebrate. They were gonna celebrate in the winner's circle like you got a chance to. But oh my goodness, that number you and Mike and your team put up on the board, that was outstanding. And top speed of the event, 247 miles an hour. I don't know what that feels like. Is it fun?
Yeah, it was just really starting to go good. I wanted to take it that extra little bit. We run a lot of quarter mile and 1,000 feet stuff on the big show. And, I was ready to go that extra 1/8 of a mile. We were just halfway there. But when that clutch cannon on this car starts working, it really starts to get its stuff together and starts to chatter the tires out there about 300 feet. That's when it's going. And whenever it got through that point, I knew I was going to hang on to it, because I had to get it to the other end for my guys. They had been working so hard, and I didn't want it to be a doubt with me not getting it to the other end. But you got a guy like Shane over there, with these alcohol cars, like I mentioned. I mean, they're running 370s, and these guys, they're good. So I knew I was going to give up some on the tree, because these guys are just stout. I mean, they're the best of the best when it comes to this stuff, and they knew they might not have been able to run a 40. They didn't know if we could run a 40. We had done it, but they don't run these things on paper. So it was late at night after some roll downs, and we had the bad lane, that if you would have picked, would have been the bad lane. And And I knew I was going to have to do my job because I knew he was going to do his, and they definitely kept us honest. I mean, that was a great run by them. I think their career best was a 75, and they went at 79. So I mean, they're right there. You know, they're picking at it big time, and we was able to get it down there, you know, for our guys and put the good number on the board and get that speed.
So we're going to see you at Edgewater in the slingshot, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and Steve Mills now owns it, or John Mills now owns it from Steve McLean. They live out in the Northeast, and our plan is to get John Mills licensed in it through the year. But right now, we're just going to try to get it down the track, try to get some laps on it. I've got my license from running that car a few years ago that helped me build and grow, you know, as a driver, and I was able to get in it. So we're gonna run the Edgewater race, and then we're gonna run a match race at Milan, and then later on at Martin, Michigan in August. So we'll be out a few times with it. I got to remember in my mind how to drive that thing after driving a top fuel car and now the funny car, because everything's got its difference. It's different folders in your mind of how to drive these things because they all handle different and the vision is different. So we're going to go to Edgewater and do that and mainly go there to test, but you never know. We came to Texas to test and use the qualifying runs as test sessions because it just gives us a great place to race. And, you know, if not, we wouldn't be getting any exposure with the car as you do with Nitro Chaos or Funny Car Chaos. So we might as well take it and support the event, give the fans another car to look at with a variety. It's got a top fuel Chevy in it, just exactly like Ray Stringer's car. So they're the best sounding cars on the property, and we'll be there ready to try to maybe take home that win.
Well, that will be exciting to see you guys there, and we appreciate the support, you know, for Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos, and of course that gives you guys, you know, we run. I was counting, we got 13 races in 12 weekends. So, you know, if somebody wants to come out and do a little nitro testing, even if that's all it is. It could be paid testing if you wind up, you know, getting to the winner's circle or even going a round or two. So it's very exciting to see all the developments, and we appreciate what you're bringing. Now, you have ventured into big show top fuel racing. Is that something that is on the schedule for this year? Do you have anything lined up that way?
There's nothing on the schedule right now. I do keep in contact with Terry Totten. And he knows that I'm available if it's needed. I feel like right now the attention is focused on our car, you know, with the Nimrod car or the American Way car. It takes so much time to physically get this thing ready. And the guys at the shop in Illinois are constantly working on it, and I'm here in Tennessee. So I feel like if I spent my time and my money to go out there on the Camping World Series and do that, it's taken away from our deal. Not saying I don't want to do it, and I'll go run Steve McLean's car a time or two here or there. It's just, I enjoy racing all aspects of it. There's no comparison to the thrill and the speed of that big show car in the top fuel world. But I hope to get back to that point at some point, and I'm ready when opportunity does present itself. But in the meantime, we're just focused on our stuff and getting our program better established and just better prepared. That way we can come to the track and really execute our plan.
Well, you do it well. You represent yourself well. You represent your family well. And it has been a thrill to have you on tonight. We're very excited to celebrate with you that Alki Digger B-Field win at the Motorplex. You got yourself a buckle now, and all the spoils that go with winning that Funny Car Chaos Classic. Man, thanks so much for tuning in with us. We wish you all the best, and we are looking forward to seeing you at Edgewater. That's going to be here before we know it. What is that? 4 weeks now, something like that. It's not long.
It's not very far away. I've been talking to Steve and John and stuff, and just really trying to get everything lined out. And I mean, they're committed to going, so they're putting everything in the trailer, new tie downs, and they're kind of revamping the whole program. But we're going to get out there and try to mix some 95% nitro, maybe 100% nitro, who knows, and just try to qualify that Chevy and listen to it thunder, because there's no other sound than that thing right off your feet.
No, that is so true. The loudest car I ever heard was Jim Booker's top fuel big block Chevy, and that was unreal. So
yeah,
anyway, Thanks again, brother. Thanks so much for tuning in and giving us some insight from your perspective.
Thank you.
See you, Joey.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Definitely, I think we can expect great things out of that team, and we can expect great things out of Joey no matter what ride he hops in. He is such a talented driver. I've been to the events where he's been in the big show car, and he certainly knows how to handle himself at that level, any level. He can get the job done. Well, David, I know it's a little bit, not according to plan, but how about we go ahead and get the A field winner on? He's been fidgeting back there the whole time, and he's ready to go.
Well, I'm ready if he is.
Let's do it. We're going to take a break. Up next, Kevin Kinsley, driver of the War Wagon.
Nitro Chaos comes to Cleves, Ohio, and Edgewater Sports Park, Friday and Saturday, April 28th and 29th, presented by Summit Racing Equipment. Header flames will fill the sky on Friday night with 2 rounds of nitro qualifying under the lights. Saturday, final qualifying and elimination. Plus, witness radical outlaw pro mods, gear slamming gassers, and nitro scalping door slammers. Every ticket is a pit pass, and kids 10 and under are free. Get info at nitrochaos.com. April 28th and 29th, Edgewater Sports Park. Be there.
Kevin, man, welcome to CHAOS Live. And yes, the car did make it off the top end. It's not welded up no more in the clutch.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting there. I haven't ever experienced that before. But, yeah, it took them quite a bit of work to get that thing uncoupled and get it off the track, both in the semis and the finals. But, yeah, it was pretty crazy. I couldn't even see the last, probably 300 feet hardly, because there was so much clutch dust in the car, and it was pretty funny. My girlfriend wouldn't even kiss me after we won the race because my face was just totally blacked out, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, that's part of it, man. That's funny car racing. I love it. It was a kick, and with all the clutch dust and excitement, and we had a couple other issues with it. It wasn't an easy gig all weekend, I can tell you that. And it started off even a little rough, but you know what? That's what it's all about, and it makes you earn it, man. This sport, there's not any give-me's in it, I mean, and I'm telling you, that's what I love about it. It's a team sport, and I mean, every guy has to do their job, from the guy packing the parachute to the guy doing the rod bearings, and that's what I like about it. And it was one of those weekends, everything clicked, everybody did their job, and we got good results out of it.
Yeah, you did, and you finally got that win. You're the 48th winner in the history of Funny Car Chaos, and you've been to 3 final rounds before, but were able to close the deal.
Yeah, I was one of those. I didn't know if we were ever going to win one or not. I felt like we're a little snake bit there, but like I said, man, there's no give-me's in any of this stuff, and you have to earn it. And that's what makes you appreciate it, though, when you do win one finally. And it doesn't matter if it's in a boat or a car or whatever. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication from your team. And again, that's why it's a team sport. And I was very fortunate this weekend that we actually pulled it off. And but the car ran exceptionally well. I was very proud of Shane and Howard and all the team. Shane did most of the tuning job on this thing this weekend. Our crew chief, David Kirkland, was over there on the Blue Max car this weekend and trying to get Ronnie lined out. And he's been spending a lot of time with it, trying to get him back in shape and get it going. And they struggled a little bit this weekend, but I think they'll get that thing turned around for Baton Rouge.
Well, good. Yeah, we're hoping so. You guys have so many fans, and I'm guessing that they came around and expressed how much they love you and the War Wagon and all of that bunch. We had a great fan turnout at this particular event, and I know that a lot of them were coming around just to see you guys.
I love the Motorplex. I tell everybody it's my home track because I feel like it is. I mean, I love that place. I remember coming up here from Houston the day it opened, and I just always admired this place, and I love calling it my home track. But yeah, I have a lot of, I live here in Arlington, so it's a home track for that too. All my customers are out there and all my buddies, and and everything. And plus, Shane and Howard are from this area too, so they have a lot of customer base here and a lot of family and friends. And it's just a great atmosphere. And that's what I love about drag racing, because, everybody come right up next to the car, and that's what makes it really cool. And it makes them feel like they're a part of it. But I went up and told Chris, I think before the semis, I just walked up to him and I was helping Bolt Howard in the Jody Austin's car, and his eyes kind of got big and he goes, "Man, is everything okay? What are you doing up here?" I said, "Well, I'm just helping get Howard in the car." I said, "No, we're good. We're going to make the next round." He goes, "Oh man, you scared me there for a second." But I said, "I just want to walk up and tell you, just looking in the stands and it was a great race, man. There was a lot of people there and it's hard to tell you have a lot of people there because the Motorplex is a big place, but there was a lot of people in the stands and then, in the suites and everything. And it was a great time, man. It was just, and the weather was amazing. And it was a great race. And we had a ball.
Well, having the race pushed back a week, that you never know exactly how that's going to go, but most everybody was able to be there. And my goodness, the Ellis County Chamber of Commerce couldn't have asked for a better day for anybody who wants to come to our part of the world. And it was extraordinary to see it shake out like that. Now, you guys came out and put some big numbers on the board early, but you work on the car through the weekend. It gets better, and sometimes it doesn't. But seeing Joey go right in front of you to 344, had you had any concerns about that left lane, or were you guys kind of going for it regardless?
Yeah, we're going for it regardless. I always know they have a good track for us there at Ennis. I've never been concerned about that ever. We stayed in the left lane just because we kept running good in the left lane and we had lane choice. So, both lanes there are always stellar to me. I love the right lane there too. I did well in it last year in Dexter Tuttle's car at the Nationals, so the Fall Nationals. So it's such a great facility. I never have been concerned about that. But we struggled at first. That first hit, it went out and did the same thing it did last year, and I was like, I came back and said, guys, we got to back this thing down. It's just too hopped up. And you can tell by just when the thing starts up. Them Ferris boys, they know how to make horsepower, man. I'm telling you, that motor never sounds bad. It's always hitting on all 8. And I'm very blessed I get to drive this thing because it's a badass hot rod and I love driving it. But, and like I said, Shane did an exceptional job calling the tune up on the clutch and on the motor. And man, it just clicked. And I just made it a fun car to drive.
Yeah. So you come into the first round and you're taking on the champion of Funny Car Chaos, and he had a dominating season last year, and he's going to put a good number up. And so what was your mindset going into that one?
Well, Kurt and I go way back. Running alcohol funny cars against each other for years, and man, it's great family, and I always enjoyed racing with them because they are a good hard charging competitors. If it was NHRA divisional alcohol funny car racing or a funny car chaos, and he's always been an excellent driver, and you better be on your toes when you run those people. And that's what's so awesome about funny car chaos, man, that everybody's there to do their best and they're doing the best with what they can do. And that's what's so cool about this program is that you have an A, B, C, and D field. It still gives everybody a shot to go race, and of course you got some fast cars there in the A and B fields, and you got some really good running cars in the C and D, and it just and it's a show, you guys. We got to remember, man, we're here to make a show for the fans besides just get some good old drag racing done.
Well, I was noticing, pair after pair. Once the people found the groove, it was side by side, just pair after pair and that's some great racing for the fans and for the racers because you don't know who's going to get there first. And it was tight. And of course, where you sit, you were seeing that. Of course, you didn't see anybody on eliminations, but you have before, and there was some super close racing this weekend.
I'm not exaggerating. I had several phone calls Monday morning telling me how great the racing was. Just like you said, side by side. We didn't hardly have any oil downs. You're always going to have a couple, but it was to a minimum, and the weather was amazing, and which makes the cars run good. So we had good times, and you got to wow these people. I always call it the wow factor. And there was a lot of wow factors, but Joey's runs were amazing, and Mitch King, man, you never know what he's going to do. And he threw that thing out there and then went one qualifier. And I talked to him Monday morning on the phone, and he goes, "Hey, number 2, how's it going?" I say, "Well, so I'm going to have to ride that ribbon for a little while." But, it's all in great fun. And but that's what makes it fun, and that's why I love this sport.
Mm-hmm. Now, in your semifinal, behind you, there was a lot of action. And first of all, the injected nitro funny car, that thing has come along quickly.
It really has. And I knew it would, man. Randy's sharp, and Julie's a great driver, and she reeled that thing in and saved it. So I was very proud of her. Of course, I knew nothing about it, Yeah. I threw my rearview mirrors off right before that run, so I never knew it even happened. But it got a lot of attention from a lot of people. Like, "Man, that girl almost hit you." I was like, "Well, she didn't. We're all good. And that's part of the game, But it's just man, these funny cars. That's what's exciting about them. They'll get away from you in a blink of an eye, and you got to be on your toes. And she did a great job reeling it in, and I'm proud of her. And I've known her for a while. She's a great person, and that's an awesome team over there too. And JJ and Randy and all the gang, and it's fun racing against them. We rib at each other too, and we have fun with it. It's a good camaraderie.
No doubt. Now the final round, Kyle Smith has taken down a nitro car before, and so like you said, no gimmies. There's just so he comes up and he's in bracket racing lingo, he's holding 3 at the tree. And
that's true.
More than that.
And that's a lot about how our strategy worked. I told my guys, I said, "Man, this guy, he's stellar on the tree." I call it button racing, but they got trans brake and all that. And they cut 00 lights, just like Jeff first round against Mitch had a 002 light or 001 light. But that wasn't no fluke. He's done that several times. He's always down, below 010, and Smith can do the same thing. So I've never raced him before personally. I've worked on some cars that we've raced against him before in some other series, and he's always been a tough competitor. And I knew they could, rip our head off on the starting line. And luckily I had a decent light, and he still had a better light than me, but I wasn't too far behind him. And it's just, and again, that's what makes this so cool, because it's an equalizer, we're going to storm down there on the big end and through the middle, but man, if they drill you on the tree, because those cars can, they just leave harder because of the way the clutch works on our car and versus the torque converter and all that. But again, that's what makes this funny car chaos series so awesome, is that is the equalizer, and that's, it's been a while since the nitro funny car has won that thing against the alcohol car.
Yeah, you are exactly right. But this time, 3 nitro cars actually find the winner circle, and it's always fun. But this was the exception in the history of Funny Car Chaos, and you got the big win finally. And I'm, can't tell you how excited I am about that, to see you and that War Wagon bunch go ahead and close the deal and get your name permanently etched as a Funny Car Chaos winner. What's coming up for you?
Well, of course, I've been using this as leverage against Howard and Shane. God, man, we got to go to the next race, man. We won this. We're up there in the points, blah, blah, blah. And, it's just, it's kind of a money deal and a time and getting everybody off of work. I got to beg them. I think they're all over the funny car blues. They really didn't like the funny car. I was begging them to run it the last couple of races, and I knew this thing would turn around. I knew that we'd figure this thing out, and we did. And I love driving the fuel altered. And we've also got some other stuff in the works. We're actually building a Nitro Pro Mod car too, and that's going to be finished up here pretty soon. And so we got that we're going to work on and play with a little bit. But I love this funny car deal, and I love the fuel altered. And so we're not going to make Baton Rouge, unfortunately, just because we can't get a couple of our key crew guys off for that weekend. They've already got other plans with their businesses and stuff. And so we're trying to raise some money to go to the Midland race, which I love that track. We got the track record there in my personal car. And, so I'm looking forward to going back there. So if we can raise the money to go there, we'll be there next. And then I start boat racing in June. Our first race was in Marble Falls, Texas, and looking forward to that. Ready to get back in that hot rod. We ran really well at the World Finals last year in Phoenix, Arizona, which was supposed to be the last race of the year, that last race they're ever going to race there. And so we're excited, and we actually ran 272 miles an hour in a top field drag boat there. So that was exciting. So I'm looking forward to going to do that again. And then and we're working on putting my funny car back together. So I might maybe catch up on some more chaos races maybe later in the year. I'm working on some financial backing right now to go do that. And we're actually got a deal we're doing this weekend, trying to raise some money to put my car back together and maybe hit a few races. So that's kind of got what we got work in the works. So I don't have any big show stuff lined out yet, but you never know. I wasn't expecting to get in the Dexter's car to the last minute. And unfortunately, Corey got sick, and fortunately I got the tap on the shoulder to come drive that deal. And that was an amazing weekend. And we got to go a couple rounds, and very blessed I got to do that because my license ran out in December, and I had several deals I'd worked on through the summer trying to be able to keep my license, because every 2 years you got to drive something to keep your license current besides having a physical. So I've got my license for 2 more years, and so hopefully I'll have something come up in the big show stuff, but you never know. I mean, I'd really like to go do that. My heart's really there to go big show racing. So, but anyway, that's kind of what's going on in our world.
Man, great. Well, sometimes it seems like there's not enough Kevin to go around because you're in demand on just about everywhere, but we love seeing you. We love having you as part of Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos. And, we can't see you often enough as far as we're concerned. And I know that your fans feel the same way. So again, congratulations on the big win. We're celebrating with you and with all the War Wagon team. It was so much fun to experience that. And like you said, what a night. I mean, what a race it was. It just, the first one was the biggest, the next one was great, and this one was great as well. And it just seemed like the racing at this one might have been better than at either of the previous two. I don't know. It was close, but it was certainly some excellent racing and a grand time. Man,
I agree with you 100%. And on top of that, and it wasn't just the funny cars. I mean, the fuel alters put on a great show, and your gassers and all the other activities you guys had going on, and the band on Thursday night, which is really cool, man. It kind of brings all the camaraderie together, and everybody gets to eat some really good barbecue. The guys did a great job on the barbecue on Thursday night, and it's just an awesome atmosphere, and I love to be a part of that. And I'm glad you guys allow us to come do that with you.
Well, Chris Graves knows how to put on a great party, doesn't he?
He does.
Thanks again for sticking around with us and sharing your information and your future. And man, we're proud of you and so excited to see you at whatever else comes our way, Chaos next this year. Thank you, Kevin.
Well, thank you very much, guys. It was good talking to you.
Well, David, look, great to talk to each and every champion of this 3rd annual Funny Car Chaos Classic. And we have so much to look forward to for what has already been set up for us a great year ahead in chaos racing. Great to hear that we might very well see War Wagon back out there soon, maybe even sooner than planned. And and you have a great event like what we just did have, and people get that itch that we got to just get to the next one. We got to go to the next one. I mean, we just got good news that the Blue Max, well, it kind of had some motor blues at the Texas Motorplex and didn't make the show, and we wondered what that might do for Baton Rouge, but looks like they might be on the mend. So we've got some good news going in to Baton Rouge, and that place definitely wants us back.
Yeah, it was so much fun to go down there. As the fans at State Capitol Raceway, they were very excited to have us there. And of course, when one group gets excited, then the racers get excited, and everybody was excited. That was a really grand time. And so, we began counting the days, but the day we left, we began counting the days before we would be coming back. And so down there in State Capitol Raceway, Baton Rouge land, we are coming your way, and can't get there soon enough.
That's right, man. Cannot get down there soon enough. Looking forward to it. David, I'm not sure what else you have on the docket to share and express, but I do want to take the opportunity and say, man, it's good to be back working with you at the track and working with Warren Evans and James Armstrong, and even working with Chris. As hard of a taskmaster as he is, he's a good dude, and I like him, and I enjoy working for him.
Well, I feel the same way, and it was great seeing you in person again, and we get to see each other on the CHAOS Lives a lot, but getting a chance to be in person, it was great. And we have so many great media people and photographers, and man, they have just outdone themselves as the Facebook feed has filled up with the fruits of their labor. And oh my goodness, it is fantastic. Hey, I wanted to do a little recognition. Not only do we feature the funny cars and the Lone Star Forklift Outlaw Fuel Altereds, but to hats off to the winners of all those categories. In Fuel Altered, Jimmy Jones over John Broussard in the final, and that was another great field, as those Lone Star Forklift Outlaw Fuel Altered starting their 27th consecutive season. And you just don't get to do it that long unless you bring a great show, and they have certainly done so. And our good friends at the TDRA, man, there was all kinds of buzz and all kinds of conversation about who are these guys? TDRA. So they made a stellar impression. And Steve Matthews got the win in the Alky Digger A field, runner-up Andy Voigt. And then in the NE2 category, Adam Carson got a win over Billy Mulder. And in the Nostalgia Eliminator 3 category, Keith Darrow got a win in the final round against Bobby Bates. And the racing was just side by side and excellent. Nostalgia Super Stock, Chance Lano, Joe Dart got a win over the Wambulance Don Deering, and that was fun. This new category, Texas Nostalgia Modified Production, those guys, Kevin Hall and several of the others that are working on that to make sure that it's happening. That was a good one with the final round. Bubba Clifton putting the Volkswagen in the winner's circle against Freddie Joyner. And then in Hot Rod Bracket, our old buddy Jim Bond from over at Hazlitt with that beautiful 37 coupe got the win in the final round against old Jeremy Casey. And so they were doing well. We appreciated having David Rattan and the team from SoCal Speed Shop of Waco, Texas, joining us. And of course, they ran their company car in the hot rod bracket category. But I mean to tell you, just so many great things, Lee, that happened through this weekend. I mean, we could go on. I think we could go on all night because there's a story in every pit area, and sometimes there's several.
Yeah.
But, we got the season kicked off very, very well. And so there's 11 more weekends left to go in chaos land, all things chaos, as we, with the doubleheader coming up in Eddyville. But plenty more weekends. And, like I say, there's only two kinds of people in this world. There's people that love funny car chaos and those who haven't been to one. And we want to invite people to show up and find out what all the hullabaloo is like. It's quite the deal, and we want you to be a part of it.
That is the truth. David, it's been a joy to be on CHAOS Live with you, and it's been a joy to have each and every one of you watching CHAOS Live as we have been able to talk to each and every field winner from the Funny Car Chaos Classic at the Texas Motorplex. David, are we done?
We are done. That's a wrap, my friend.
Awesome. Folks, come see us in Cajun Country.
It starts with 100% nitro methane. From more than 12 states, they're coming. The Larice Motorsports Insurance CHAOS Cajun Nationals. Friday and Saturday, April 14th and 15th. State Capitol Raceway. Over 24 mind-blowing supercharged funny cars. Flame-scorching jet dragsters. And never before seen, Scott Palmer's Nitro Pro Mod. Kids 12 and under are free, and every ticket is your pit pass. Get advance tickets at funnycarchaos.com. Can you survive the chaos? Find out and be there.